Right now, as I speak, millions and millions of drivers are saving money on their car insurance with GEICO. If you're one of those drivers, well done. If you're not, it's easy to join them. Visit geico.com today.
Joining us now is Tom Holmoe. Tom is the Director of Athletics at Brigham Young University. And Tom, Bruce Binkowski here. You played in the 1980 game that we just featured. What were your thoughts about that contest?
Well, it was a game, Bruce, that we went into, and we thought we were going to play one of the best teams in the country, and we ended up playing what we felt was one of the best teams in the country. As sophomore, they had Eric Dickerson and Craig James both in the backfield. They had about 9 or 10 guys that eventually went into the NFL, and it was a loaded team. And back in those days, there weren't a lot of bowl games, so a second-place team from the Southwest Conference might have been the second or third best team in the country, and they gave us everything we could handle, and we just had to swing out of there with a miracle, and that's what it took.
Tom, Mark Neville here, and when Craig James scored a 42-yard touchdown run with under 4 minutes to play, the score was 45-25, the crowd's starting to leave. Did you really think that you had a chance to win that game?
Well, I can't say we'd ever give up, but my hopes are really fading. We, as you look in hindsight, there's kind of some legends around that game, and there's a great story of our manager who earlier in the day had torn phone book in half, and sometimes that's urban legend, but it's a true story. We would like to have thought that we could hang in there and finish off the game and come back, but to be able to come back from so far behind with the horses that they had, it didn't look good.
Tom, you shared with Mark and myself a story a few months ago that what happened to you after the game, and would you be willing to share that story briefly with our listening audience?
Oh, sure.
And now let me preface
I
it.
grew up in Los Angeles,
okay.
And I had a number of my friends that I played high school football with that went to San Diego State. So they were at the game cheering for the Cougars, and when we won after the game, I stayed in San Diego and stayed a couple days with them and then went home for the holidays. But so late after the game, we were in the locker room probably for 2 or 3 hours. And finally, after
and this is back in the day when the games were on a delayed basis on TV.
Oh yeah. Well, finally after many hours, we went to get home, but they were hungry from waiting around for me. So we stopped off at a place like a little market to get some food, and we went into this market, and a guy behind the counter was looking at this little about 10-inch screen, and he was watching the game, and it was on a tape-delayed basis. This was the Ms. Lou television network.
That's right.
And so I kind of thought it was funny, and I realized that it was a tape delay, and I looked down, and there was about 3 minutes to go in the game, and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on with the game?" And he looked like he was maybe from another country, foreign guy that might not have known. He said, "I've been watching this game, but SMU's got it sewn up." And I said, I don't know. I think I've seen BYU before a few times this year, and I think they might be able to come back. So I had this guy going, and I proceeded to predict every play that was going to happen. And he kept looking at me, and he goes, "Hey," I said, "I got $20 there to come back and beat SMU." And he goes, "You're on." So he slaps down his 20. I slapped down my 20, and my guys are laughing. And so I go, "We just need to get an onside kick." "Oh, we got it. And when we ended up winning the game, he turned around and stared at me with this incredible look, and he said, "I cannot believe that." And then, being a BYU guy, I had to tell the truth.
Yep.
And I said, "Hey, buddy, I played in that game. This is a tape delay." And I gave him the 20 back, and rest is history.
Well, that was great. It was a great finish, and the final score, of course, 46-45 BYU, in a game that will always be in the history books of both the Holiday Bowl and BYU.
I'm curious, Tom, after the game and you're in the locker room, could Coach Lavelle Edwards say anything? I mean, what did he say to the team?
Well, it was one of those games where it's such pandemonium after the game. You never really have a chance to get everybody back in the game. Back in the locker room together. So I don't think at that time we really had a lot to say. I think Coach said his things maybe a day or two later, or a week or two later, or a month or two later. But there were so many things going on at that time, and the celebration on the field lasted so long that coming in the locker room right after the game, I don't think we ever all got all together.
It was an amazing finish. Now, Tom, you also played or have been a part of how many Holiday Bowl games as a player or as a coach? It's more than 4 or 5, isn't it?
I've been in a part of 7.
7.
I redshirted my first year when we played Navy in the inaugural game, and I was a redshirt player. That was the only game I got to suit up in, but I didn't play, thank goodness, because they redshirted me. And then I played in Indiana. I played in of course, SMU, Washington State, and Ohio State. And then I went on to play in the NFL, and I came back and coached when Ty Detmer was a junior and a senior against Texas A&M in Iowa.
So you've been a part of so many great Holiday Bowl games, and hopefully this year, and things are looking pretty good, that Brigham Young University will be at the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl on December the 20th, taking on a team from the Mountain West. So we're looking forward to seeing BYU here in the not-too-distant future.
Bruce, we're very excited about the opportunity to come back to San Diego. It has great ties to BYU. The Holiday Bowl, the Poinsettia Bowl, just coming down. Just talking to you guys right now reminds me of so many great times for BYU football. And we have to do some work still, but it's been an interesting year for the Cougars. We've played 2 top 10 teams pretty darn tight, and we've also lost to 2 other really good teams. We've been in every game right down to the wire. It's been a crazy year to lose to Boise 6-3. But the great thing I love about what Bronco's doing with this team is every week they come to play. And even though right now we're 4-4, he gets these guys ready to come and battle some great opponents. And I'm very confident. We're going down to Georgia Tech this week, and that'll be a tough game. But we know what's waiting us in San Diego. We'll get ourselves bowl eligible and look forward to a great game down there.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Look forward to talking to you guys when we come down.
We'll talk to you soon.
That is Tom Holmoe, the Director of Athletics at BYU, and a gentleman who played in that incredible 1980 game against SMU. You're listening to GEICO'S Bowl Game Radio on the GEICO San Diego Bowl Game Media Network and XX 1090.